At the time during the Phantom Menace, Darth Plagueis was still alive and Palpatine was planning on being elected Supreme Chancellor, so he was still Senator Palpatine, not Chancellor Palpatine. I have gone over why Count Dooku turned to the dark side, but where was he during the Phantom Menace? We saw Count Dooku make his first appearance in Attack of the Clones and learned he used to be a Jedi. But where was he during the Phantom Menace? In the book Darth Plagueis, we are taken way deeper into the events of making of the Clone Army, Order 66, and Darth Plagueis' death. A lot happens in this book, connecting lots of plots, such as how Sifo-Dyas created the Clone Army, a bunch more stuff, and I really recommend the book. So anyway, Count Dooku was a very mysterious character when we first saw him on screen. Unknown origins, and it is revealed what he was doing during the Phantom Menace in the Darth Plagueis book. So, before the Phantom Menace, Palpatine and Darth Plagueis met Count Dooku and immediately knew that Dooku would fall to the dark side. Yet, not to be his ultimate Padawan, as that would be Anakin, but to be a pawn in his game, as I've been saying that Maul was a pawn in his game. Another main reason Dooku fell to the dark side was because of his opinions. He thought that the Jedi Order and the Republic was falling apart and disagreed with them. At this time, everyone in the Senate wanted the Republic to create an army to fight back threats to the galaxy, such as the Trade Federation, but of course the Jedi didn't want to, because they are peacemakers, not war makers. Since Palpatine convinced the Trade Federation, they had just launched a fleet to barricade the planet of Naboo. This is where the events of the Phantom Menace take place. The Senate wants the Republic and the Jedi to create an army to fight back the Trade Federation, but instead they send Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi to make peace with the Trade Federation. After multiple events, Palpatine, of course, sends Maul, his wild card, to kill the two Jedi. Actually, mainly just to kill Qui-Gon, because he predicted if Qui-Gon lived to train Anakin, he would never be able to train Anakin as a Sith apprentice. There's so much I could explain in this book, what happened with Palpatine and his plan, the Clone Wars, Order 66, everything, but right now I'm going to explain what Count Dooku was doing during and slightly before the Phantom Menace. So with all that background story, I can finally explain more details into Dooku's fall to the dark side. So Dooku disagreed with the Jedi Order with not creating an army to defend the Republic, and he basically wanted them to create an army, but they didn't want to, so he simply left the Order. Sifo-Dyas, along with Palpatine, Plagueis, and Yoda, all knew that it was only a matter of time before Dooku left the Order. They all knew that someday Dooku would just leave. Palpatine kind of convinced Dooku ultimately to leave the Order, and by this left Dooku for Palpatine to train. So during the events of Episode 1, Dooku was destined to leave the Order, and behind the Jedi's backs, still as a Jedi himself. Dooku often met up with Palpatine, and he slowly turned Dooku to the dark side by this. One time when they met up, they talked about how Qui-Gon returned with the Force-sensitive boy, former slave from Tatooine, Anakin Skywalker. They sit at a restaurant called Mock's Cheap Eats and discuss certain matters and news from the Republic. I begin to wonder what may have prompted your confrontational mood, but for the sake of argument, let us say that I feel no shame in taking full advantage of the crisis. Would that cause you to distance yourself from me? Palpatine said. Dooku smiled with his eyes, but not in mirth. On the contrary, as you say, I'm interested in learning more about the possibility of an alliance. Palpatine adopted a hooded look. Your resolve to leave the Order? Even more than when we last spoke. Because of the Council's decision to intervene at Naboo? I can forgive them that. The blockade has to be broken. But something else has occurred. Dooku chose his next words carefully. Qui-Gon returned from Tatooine with the former slave boy. According to the boy's mother, the boy had no father. A clone? Palpatine asked uncertainly. Not a clone, Dooku said. Perhaps conceived by the Force, as Qui-Gon believes. Palpatine's head snapped back. You don't sit on the council. How do you know this? I have my ways. Does this have something to do with the prophecy you speak of? Everything. Qui-Gon believes that the boy, Anakin is his name, stands at the center of a vergence in the Force and believes further that his finding him was the will of the Force. Blood tests were apparently performed in the boy's concentration of midichlorians is unprecedented. So basically, at the time of Qui-Gon taking Anakin to the council and being tested, Palpatine and Dooku, yet still not a Sith, discuss about Anakin and how he could possibly be the chosen one. I may do a video on this entire conversation, but it's just very interesting. Now, I'm fast forwarding after the Phantom Menace. Palpatine has killed Plagueis and has also met Anakin, been elected Supreme Chancellor, Dooku left the Jedi Order, and figured out that he would manipulate Anakin to the dark side instead of originally wanting to train him since he was 9. Palpatine took Dooku to an old facility that Darth Plagueis originally owned before he died, called Lemerge Building. So originally, Dooku had his suspicions about Palpatine being a Sith Lord, who he truly was, and Palpatine soon revealed himself, but first needed confirmation that Qui-Gon's death was the reason Dooku left the Order, and he simply replied saying that it was slightly a part of why he left. Dooku confesses to Palpatine that he wants to learn the dark side of the Force, but instead of revealing himself as a Sith Lord, he says, "Something tells me that this hidden Sith may eventually find his way to you. And if and when he or she does, I hope that the alliance you forge will help us restore order to the galaxy." So this is foreshadowing where Palpatine would come to Count Dooku as Darth Sidious, train him, and see if he actually wants to be trained to the dark side and not just try to lure the Sith into a trap for the Jedi. And basically, just before the Phantom Menace, Dooku was still in the Order, but disagreed with them, and so after several conversations with Palpatine and in alliance with him, Dooku finally left the Order during the Phantom Menace. Then, shortly after Episode 1, Dooku and Palpatine met, and he confessed that he wants to learn the dark side of the Force. So that is the story of what Dooku was doing, where he was, what exactly happened with him, what he did during the Episode 1. There are so many things to talk about with the Darth Plagueis book, and once again, I really recommend reading it. I'll be going over lots more topics on this channel for this book, making lots more videos, and how it ties into the Phantom Menace. Check out my other videos on this book, and may the Force be with you.